Ever find yourself daydreaming about ditching the 9 to 5 and opening like a quirky little vintage clothing boutique in Melbourne? Or maybe a cool independent bookstore in Fremantle?
The Aussie dream, right.
Totally. But turning that dream into, a real business, that takes some serious know-how. So today we're doing a deep dive into the ultimate guide to starting a business in Australia. It's a recent guide from Now Technology Systems, and let me tell you, it's packed with useful stuff.
It really is. They cover a lot of ground, from like the very first spark of an idea all the way to, marketing your business to the world.
Exactly. And they don't sugarcoat it either, which I appreciate.
Right. They're upfront about the challenges, but also super encouraging about the rewards.
Totally. So for anyone out there who's ever even just toyed with the idea of starting a business down under,
This deep dive is for you.
100%. Okay, so the guide starts off strong, emphasizing something that I think a lot of new entrepreneurs, they kind of skip over.
Validating your idea.
Yes. Because it's one thing to be passionate about something, and believe me, passion is important, but it's a whole other thing to know if there's actually a market for it.
Right. Passion doesn't pay the bills, unfortunately.
Sadly, no. So what does the guide recommend? How do we figure out if our business idea has legs before we sink all our time and money into it?
Well, they break it down into three main things. First up, you got to scope out the competition.
Okay, so market research.
Exactly. But it's not just about who else is out there doing something similar. It's about figuring out what they're doing well, where they might be falling short.
And most importantly, I'm guessing, how you can set yourself apart.
Exactly. What's your unique angle? What can you offer that's different? Because let's face it, the Aussie market is competitive.
Oh, absolutely. So if my dream is to open that quirky little plant shop, I can't just replicate what the nursery down the street is already doing.
Exactly. Maybe you specialize in rare indoor plants, or you offer, terrarium building workshops. It's about finding your niche.
I love it. Okay, so that's step one, know your competition. What's next?
Talking to your ideal customer. The guide is big on customer surveys.
Which makes sense, right? Get out of your own head and actually find out what people want.
Exactly. Because you might think you have a brilliant idea for say, a line of handcrafted surfboards.
But if it turns out surfers in your area are perfectly happy with the mass-produced boards they're already using,
well, you might need to rethink your strategy.
Okay, so we've got competitive analysis, customer feedback. What's the third thing?
Keeping an eye on industry trends. The guide emphasizes the importance of staying ahead of the curve. What's hot right now? What's on its way out?
So, remember those, what were they called, those spinning fidget toys? Everyone had one for about 5 minutes.
And then, poof, gone.
Exactly. So you got to make sure your brilliant business idea isn't going to be the next fidget spinner.
Right. It's about being adaptable, being willing to pivot if you need to.
Yeah.
Because the market, it changes fast.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So let's say we've done our homework, we've validated our amazing business idea. What's next on the agenda?
Time to lay the groundwork. And that means choosing the right business structure.
And this is where it can get a little overwhelming, right? All those legal terms and structures, it can make your head spin.
Oh, for sure. But the guide does a really good job of demystifying it.
It really does. It's they took all that complicated legal jargon and actually made it, understandable for us regular folks.
Right. They use real-world examples, analogies, all that good stuff.
Exactly. So where do they suggest we start?
Well, they emphasize that the business structure you choose, it's kind of like picking the right foundation for your house.
Ooh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, you need a strong base that can support your specific needs and, those ambitious growth goals.
Makes sense. So no cookie-cutter solutions here. What are some of the structures they break down?
So the most straightforward option, especially if you're just starting out on your own, is the sole trader structure.
Okay, so that's you're the boss, you call the shots.
Exactly. It's simple to set up, gives you total control.
But, and I'm guessing there's a but.
There's always a but, right?
Yeah.
The downside is you're personally liable for any debts the business incurs.
Oh, right. So it's high risk, high reward kind of situation.
In a nutshell, yeah.
Yeah.
Then you've got partnerships, which can be great if you're, teaming up with someone else.
Two heads are better than one, as they say.
Exactly. You share the responsibilities, you share the profits. But, and this is crucial, you need a really solid partnership agreement in place from day one.
To avoid any, shall we say, disagreements down the line?
Precisely. You don't want to end up on that Aussie version of, court TV because you didn't hash things out at the beginning.
Okay, noted. So we've covered going solo, teaming up. What about those businesses that are, looking for a bit more, I don't know, protection?
That's where companies come in. Think of it like building a fortress around your personal assets.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. Tell me more.
So, with a company structure, it's a separate legal entity, which means you have limited liability. So if things go south, your personal assets are protected.
That peace of mind must be priceless.
Oh, absolutely. But, of course, there's a trade-off. Companies are more complex to set up and run.
More paperwork, I'm guessing.
You got it. More compliance requirements, too.
So it's a matter of weighing up those pros and cons, figuring out what's right for your specific business.
Exactly. And then finally, there are trusts.
Okay. Trusts. Those always seem a bit mysterious to me.
They can be, yeah. They're often used for things like managing assets for a family or running a family business.
So a bit more specialized than the other structures we've talked about?
Exactly. It's like creating a vault for your assets, and you appoint a trustee to manage those assets according to specific rules.
Okay, so we've got our solo ventures, our team efforts, our fortresses, and our vaults.
And choosing the right one, it's crucial, because getting it wrong, well, that can lead to some serious headaches down the road.
Legal headaches, financial headaches.
All of the above. That's why this guide's emphasis on laying that solid legal groundwork early on, it's so valuable.
It's like they say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Okay, so we've tackled business structures. We're feeling good. What other essential legal stuff do we need to have on our radar?
Well, they dive into the wonderful world of, wait for it,
Oh, no, don't tell me.
registrations.
Of course. Can't escape the red tape entirely, can we? Sadly, no. But honestly, it's not as daunting as it might seem. The guide breaks it down into manageable steps. First up, you've got your ABN,
ABN. Now, refresh my memory. What does that stand for again?
the Australian business number. It's basically like a social security number, but for your business.
Okay, so it's how the government keeps track of us entrepreneurial types.
Exactly. You need it for things like paying taxes, opening a business bank account.
Basically doing anything official as a business.
Gotcha.
Right. And speaking of official, you'll also need to register your business name.
Ah, yes. This is where I get to make that catchy business name I've been brainstorming official, right?
You got it. It protects your name, prevents others from using it.
And I'm guessing in this day and age, securing that matching.com.au domain name is equally important. Absolutely. Your domain name is your online address. It's how people find you.
And first impressions matter, especially online.
100%. And let's not forget about licenses and permits.
Oh, right, because depending on what kind of business you're starting, you might need specific licenses to operate legally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you're opening a restaurant, you'll need food handling permits, right?
All right.
Or if you're selling alcohol, you'll need a liquor license.
Makes sense. It's
Yeah.
all about making sure you're ticking all the legal boxes.
Right. And while we're on the topic of covering your bases, the guide also stresses the importance of insurance.
Insurance.
Yeah.
It's not the most exciting topic, but definitely essential.
Totally. And there are so many types to consider, depending on your business, of course. Public liability, professional indemnity.
It's about protecting yourself from those what-if scenarios that we'd rather not think about, but unfortunately can happen.
Exactly. And last but certainly not least on our legal checklist, we have the ever-present topic of,
Taxes. Couldn't we just, pretend they don't exist?
wouldn't that be nice?
Mm.
But sadly, no. Taxes are a fact of life, especially for business owners.
Okay, so no escaping the tax man. What do we need to know?
Well, the guide does mention that Australia has a, shall we say, comprehensive tax system.
Comprehensive. That's one way to put it.
But on a positive note, the Australian Taxation Office website, it's a treasure trove of information.
Okay, so there's help out there for those of us who aren't, accounting whizzes.
Definitely. And they have resources specifically designed for new business owners.
That's reassuring. But still, with all these legal requirements and registrations and taxes, it does make you wonder, how does anyone actually manage to get a business off the ground in Australia?
Right. Well, that brings us to a crucial aspect the guide tackles next, and that's securing the funding to turn your business dreams into a reality.
Because let's face it, starting a business, it takes cash. And sometimes quite a bit of it.
It does. But the good news is there are more funding options available to Aussie entrepreneurs today than ever before. And this guide, it does a really good job of breaking them down.
Okay, so walk us through it. What are our options?
Well, they start with the most, shall we say, self-sufficient method, which is bootstrapping.
Bootstrapping. That's like funding the business yourself.
Right. Using your own savings, maybe reinvesting those early profits.
It's the ultimate test of dedication, for sure.
It is. But it also means you get to call all the shots. No investors to answer to.
I can see the appeal in that. But for those of us who, maybe don't have a ton of savings or need a bit of a boost to get started.
The guide talks about loans. Traditional bank loans are always an option, but they also highlight some government-backed schemes that are specifically designed to support small businesses.
Oh, those are good to know about. I feel like a lot of people probably aren't even aware of those government schemes. What are they like?
They can be a really good deal, actually. Often come with lower interest rates, more favorable terms. It's definitely worth doing your research.
For sure. And then there's, of course, the more, I don't know, glamorous world of investors.
You're talking angel investors, venture capitalists.
Yeah, all that Shark Tank stuff. Although I imagine in real life it's not quite as dramatic as what you see on TV.
Probably not. But the basic principle is the same. You're essentially pitching your business idea to individuals or firms that have the capital to invest.
And if they like what they hear, if they think your business has potential,
They might just write you a check or, transfer you the funds electronically. This is 2024 after all.
right. But securing that investment, it's not easy. You really need to have your pitch down pat.
Oh, absolutely. You need a solid business plan, a clear path to profitability. You got to show them why your business is a good bet.
And then there's crowdfunding, which seems to be like exploding in popularity these days.
It really is. Crowdfunding has been huge for creative projects and tech startups, but you're seeing more and more businesses use it as a legitimate funding source.
I love that. It's like the power of the people, right? Instead of going to one big investor, you're getting lots of smaller contributions from people who believe in your idea.
Exactly. And it's a great way to build buzz early on. Get people excited about your product or service before it even launches.
Okay, so let's say we've navigated the funding maze. We've got some cash in hand. Time to make this business dream a reality.
Time to spread the word. And that's where marketing comes in.
Because you could have the most amazing product or service in the world, but if no one knows about it...
It's not going to be much of a business, is it?
Exactly. So where do we even begin with marketing these days? It seems like there are so many options, so many platforms. It can be overwhelming.
It totally can. But the guide emphasizes the importance of, taking a step back and creating a comprehensive marketing strategy.
So not just, randomly posting on every social media platform we can think of.
Well, a little bit of strategy never hurt anyone. Think about your target audience. Who are you trying to reach? Where do they hang out online?
Okay, so, if I'm opening that vintage clothing boutique we talked about earlier, I'm probably going to want to be on Instagram, maybe TikTok.
Exactly. Visual platforms where you can really showcase your unique style.
But maybe not so much LinkedIn.
Probably not. Unless you're selling, vintage power suits.
True. So we've got social media. What else?
Well, the guide is big on having a killer website.
Of course. In this day and age, your website is like your online storefront. It has to make a good first impression.
Exactly. It needs to be visually appealing, easy to navigate.
Yeah.
And it needs to clearly communicate what your business is all about.
No pressure, right?
None at all.
Yeah.
They also talk about the power of email marketing, which I know some people think is a bit old school.
Yeah, in the age of social media and everything.
But it's still one of the most effective ways to build relationships with your customers.
Because it's direct, right? It's a way to, speak directly to the people who've already shown an interest in what you do.
Exactly. Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground here today. We've talked about validating your business idea, choosing the right structure, navigating the legal stuff, securing funding, building a marketing strategy. Phew.
I'm exhausted just thinking about it.
Right. Starting a business, it's definitely not for the faint of heart.
But as tough as it can be, there's something so exciting about the idea of, creating something from scratch, being your own boss.
Absolutely, and that's what I love about this guide. They don't shy away from the challenges, but they also really capture the excitement and the potential of entrepreneurship.
Totally. So for anyone listening who's been bitten by the entrepreneurial bug,
Australia is waiting for you.
It really is. It's a land of opportunity, and with the right idea, a solid plan, and a whole lot of Aussie can-do spirit.
The sky's the limit.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So there you have it, folks. Your essential guide to launching a business down under. Now go out there and make those dreams a reality.
You sure said that.